Hi, Karen. Hi, Gems. How are you? I thought I'd come on a little bit earlier and make sure that I'm here and ready. Oh gosh, Jake, you're very prompt. Hang on a sec. Have I done it? Hi, everyone. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Matthew.
Being prompt.
You're
Being
very
prompt isn't always a good thing. It's not always a good thing.
I
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's true, but I thought boys. I'm used to speaking to women, and I thought he's a boy.
No,
He's going to be
I'm
late.
never late. Never late.
Do you know what,
Always
Lorraine?
early.
Well, Lorraine did say he's a good one. She said very professional, I think were her
Oh,
words.
really?
Mm.
That's the first time I've been called professional. I'm a great actor. When I do Lorraine, I'm a great actor, honestly. How are you?
Oh, Jake, I'm really well, and it's so nice to see you because our paths have crossed, but we've never actually got to properly chat. So I work obviously at Lorraine, and you're sort of a friend of the show, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I spend a lot of my time outside of Lorraine, basically talking boobs, which
Yeah, I don't mind.
there's a lot of that going on, and to the point where somebody has sent me a boob. I've even got a boob face mask.
Have you wore it out yet?
Oh yeah, constantly. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And
brilliant.
I keep saying it's a bit like, somebody like has a sausage dog, and then everybody buys them like a mug and a pencil case with a sausage dog on. People just give me things with boobs on.
Really?
But even my kids have started calling me Titty, which is slightly unnerving. But
I've been called worse, to be honest. I've been called much worse. So it's fine.
I always think, do you know what? If it gets the message out there, I don't actually care. It's
Of
a bit
course,
like you do.
I think I would if it meant getting the message out there, I'd wear anything on my head. I'd wear a big willy on my head if it was to do with testicular cancer, anything.
Just making a note of that for the next time we do a strand.
The next
on the show.
Yeah.
or full Monty, you'll take your clothes off, I believe.
I've done it.
I know.
Yeah, got it out, and it was totally worth it. It was cold on the ice, so we all had an excuse. But yeah, it was. Do you know what? Out of all the shows I've done, I think Full Monty has been my favourite. Is
that right?
Yeah, just because listening to everybody's story and realising why we was all there, and we was all there for the same reason, and we'd all been touched in some way by cancer, to all be doing this together.
Yeah.
Together, I was like, this is brilliant. And it was a right laugh as well. We had a right laugh.
Yeah. Although dancing on ice must have been a laugh as well.
Dancing on ice was great, but it was just, do you know what? I got a little bit obsessed with it.
Did you? Did you?
Yeah, because I was like, I can't lose another reality show, mate. Like, I can't do it. So I had to win. And I was like, I need to win this. And I got so obsessed. I was training like 8 hours a day. And yeah, it kind of ruined me. My body was in pieces after that.
Do you still skate or not?
Yeah, I do. I broke my neck in 2019, so I haven't really done much since then.
Yeah. I think that's a sign. That's a sign from somewhere saying, give up the ghost.
That's what my mum said.
And you're a dad now.
now.
You've got other things to, think about. So let's not go breaking anything anymore.
Saying that, okay. I have just signed up for a boxing match that I'm having in October. So we'll see how that goes.
A boxing match? What's that for? For fun?
No, just for fun. Yeah, just for fun. I kind of wish it was for charity now, and I think I might try and incorporate something to do with Sarcoma in there, because
you must be able to. People would sponsor you to do that.
Maybe I'll just do one round just without putting my guard up.
No, don't do that.
I'll probably make more than anything.
No, you're too pretty for that. Don't do that.
Yeah, but imagine hitting these teeth. You'd break your hand. I don't even have to wear a gum shield.
Jake,
yeah, definitely, I'd love to.
Oh, okay. So I'm making notes of all these things that we could do, because we could come along and film you training?
Yes.
That'd
Oh,
be
definitely,
good.
yes. Yes,
Hang on.
training would be good. Well, I shaved my
Boxing.
head. I shaved my head in lockdown for sarcoma, and I raised £4,000, which was
That's
great.
amazing.
That's amazing.
Well, I thought, you know what can I do? And I'm like a patron of Sarcoma now. They've made me like top, and it's great. And yeah, like I'm hoping to raise much more either this year or next year. But yeah, whatever, jumping out of planes or whatever I can do just to raise awareness, because like you say, a lot of people think sarcoma is just bone cancer, don't they?
Well, so this is what really got me, actually, was when I was looking up about it, because I know a lot about breast cancer, and part of what I do is try and shine a torch on other cancers. And I thought, right, what's coming up in July?
And I looked it up,
like sarcoma. I'm like, what the fuck's sarcoma? And when I looked it up, so my note said there's over 100 different types of it.
Yeah.
So then I look up, well, what are the symptoms? And because there's over 100 different types, the symptoms are so vast.
Different. Yeah.
And 40% of people that go to their GP about it are misdiagnosed because it's
my little
take
brother was not even diagnosed with it for ages. They didn't even diagnose him. Because he just had a swollen knee, they thought, because playing football or on the trampoline, so they didn't diagnose him until it got to a point where my mum was like, this just isn't right, there's something not right here, like his knee is so swollen, he needs to get it looked at like properly. He's not going to the physio's not helping, and we found out later that by going to the physio they could have snapped his leg by everything they were doing, because his bones because his bones became so brittle because of the cancer. So when they did eventually do a biopsy, it was too late. Well, at the time it wasn't too late. He managed to have his operation, and he had a metal knee put in. So he had his knee out, but unfortunately after the op, a little bit of bone had broken off and travelled through his system, and then I think he had 8 tumours in his lung. He had to have half his lung out. Legs, and eventually I think he had 23 tumours all over his body. And that
he was 16. He was 16, wasn't he?
When he was diagnosed, yeah.
And was there family history?
Well, my dad passed away of myeloma, so it's not the same kind of cancer. Myeloma is cancer of the bone marrow, whereas osteosarcoma is what my little brother passed away of. Is it's a tumor on the kneecap usually. So yeah, it's. My mum had skin cancer as well, so just my family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mum had skin cancer. Yeah, so she had a lump on the back of her leg, and she had it checked, and it was cancer. So yeah, she went through operations and stuff like that, and going back and forth to Jimmy's in Leeds to kind of get checkups and stuff like that. But luckily,
was that since losing your brother and your dad that she went through the skin?
My mum was first. So my mum had cancer when I was probably about 11, 12. Yeah, about 12. And then my dad got diagnosed when I was 16, 15, 16. And then my dad died when I was 20. And then Oliver was diagnosed pretty much a year after that. So it's been a bit of a kind of and then somebody else. And me and Adam now, I don't know if you're the same with cancer, but when you've been affected by it, I think I deal with it best by humour and stuff. Like I even got the giggles at my dad's funeral. Just because it's what my dad would have wanted. Like my dad knew what we was all like as 3 boys and stuff. And like even now I try and deal with it. I say to my big brother, you'll be next and stuff like this. Like you're like if something's wrong with us, I'm like, my wrist's hurting. He's like, you better get that checked. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just our way of dealing with things.
Sometimes it is the only way of dealing with it. When I was going through my chemo, I lost my mum, and it was so hard. But you're absolutely right. I remember at her funeral, I'd written like the eulogy and had to stand up and give this. And bear in mind, I've lost my hair and I look pretty sick. But I just told as many funny stories about her that would make her cringe as much as I possibly could, because everybody laughed about it, and I just know that it's what she would have wanted. And
100%.
also, you know, sometimes when these cards, you're dealt these cards, you sink or swim, and you've just, you know,
you've got to find something that helps you deal with it, and that for me, I guess what helped me deal, losing my dad was hard, and my dad won't mind me saying this, losing my dad was hard, but losing my little brother was harder, because I felt like I should protect him. Like, he was younger than me, and he hadn't had a life at all. He'd never been on a lad's holiday or anything like that. So
yeah.
The only thing that kind of kept me going was the fact that I had to be strong for my mum and my other brother, but also just dealing with it humorous, and like trying to make my mum laugh. Even on the darkest days, she still says to me, like, I don't know what I would have done without you, because even on my darkest days, she said something or did something that made me laugh. And I'm like, maybe that's why I'm people's faces. Like, I just want to, if you're down, just make you happy. And I think that comes with loss. Like, you get something taken away from you, but something's added to you as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And something's definitely been added to you recently with your little boy.
Yes, yeah. I've got
Puppet.
half decent right now, because if I take this off, I look terrible. I am knackered. But he is the most beautiful, amazing thing ever. Like, I can't get my head around it. And it's something else I think of now. Like, I think about my mum losing Oliver, because I'm like, I cannot imagine anything. Leo's getting an operation. He's got a hernia, so he has to have an operation next week. And it's just the worry that I feel. So
I know my son had one, and it is a worry, because you don't want them to go in and into a hospital environment, and you want to do everything you can to protect them.
Yeah, it's mad. So I said to my mum, like, I can't imagine what you felt when Oliver was having numerous operations and in and out of hospital, and I just don't know how she dealt with it. And that gives me strength now. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm having a bad day, like, I got turned down from a job today that I thought I was going to get, and I didn't get it. And I'm like, you know what? There's much worse shit that goes on in there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. And you just got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and
go again.
It wasn't right, obviously. Their bloody loss, anyway.
Yeah, God, what are they doing? God,
but I wanted just to find out. So, what else can you tell us about sarcoma that people might not know in terms of, like?
It's actually a very common cancer in children. So osteosarcoma especially is one of the most common cancers in. It's usually boys, I think. I don't want to quote this because I might be wrong. And to be fair, I'm not an expert, but I do know a lot just by being in and out of hospital and kind of talking to my brother and talking to my dad. And it's like, when I talk about it, sometimes I'm like, are you a doctor, Jake? Like, you sound really intelligent. It's the only time I sound intelligent. But yeah, it's usually boys and children. It's one of the most common cancers, unfortunately. And osteosarcoma is usually in the kneecap. I know that. That's the sarcoma I know most about anyway. And it was funny because when I said to my mum I'm raising money for sarcoma, she was like, you do know Oliver didn't have sarcoma, don't you? And I was like, well, he did, because he had osteosarcoma. And she's like, but it's different. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Did a bit of research. I was like, these are all the sarcomas.
It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, it's all part. But there's no charity for just osteosarcoma.
No.
I'm sure there is somewhere, but when I shaved my head, sarcoma is the one that I reached out to, and they're the one that's kind of been working with since.
Yeah. And when you did the full Monty, was that a fundraiser? Or was that an awareness thing?
It's an awareness. I think it used to be a charity thing where people could donate, but I think they changed it. And it was just awareness based now. So we did things on our Instagrams about we walked around London with massive balls and stuff like this, and we was in a hot air balloon that was like a boob and stuff like that, and like we did all that. Yeah, and the girls were raising awareness for breast cancer and the boys for testicular cancer. So yeah, and we just met loads of people that had been affected by cancer, you know, and just chatting to everyone. It's actually unbelievable how many people are affected by cancer.
Yeah, it must have been so emotional.
Yeah, it was a weird one because all week all I could think about is getting my little wiener out, and then that was the thing I was least scared of at the end. Like I just didn't want to break down on TV. I had to sing as well, so I sang on the show.
That's all right.
Yeah,
You've got a good voice.
yeah, it's all right. But when I was rehearsing, they put a big photo of my dad and my brother on without telling me, and it just I was gone, mate. Like for the whole rehearsal, I was gone, and then when I sang it live, there it was again, and I did everything I could to hold it together. But I think that's one of the proudest moments, like singing on ITV a song. I then released the song on iTunes for Sarcoma again, and it did another 1,500 quid or something like that. So
brilliant.
yeah, so any little things I can do, I try and do. But
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So you've got a podcast now as well.
Yeah, I'm doing a podcast called It's Not All Dad. So it's basically, I think being a dad has been one of the hardest things I've done. And I just felt like there wasn't much awareness around dads, new dads.
Yeah.
And I feel like in 2021, dads are taking on just as much as a role as a mum. Not as much. I'm not saying that mums don't do everything, because they do. But we try and take on just as much as a role. So you've got stay-at-home dads, you've got dads that do the nappies, get up, you've got dads that kind of having the sleepless nights and stuff like that. And when I kind of thought about it, I was like, there's not much support for the dads. Like, I didn't get handed a leaflet after the hospital. Nobody really asked me if I was okay. It's all about the mums, which it should be. And I'm not like discrediting that at all. What I'm saying is just sometimes, especially in 2021,
don't forget about us as well.
Don't forget about the man can struggle. And I've chatted to a lot of guys that have suffered from PTSD and from depression after their kids and stuff like that. And it's quite interesting to find out. So I started this podcast with Marcel from the Blazing Squad and Jamie Dewitt from Love Island. We've all had kids pretty similar times. Yeah. And we're just three dads chatting complete bollocks about having kids and pretty much not knowing what we're doing.
It is the hardest thing I think you'll ever do. It's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it's mad.
And I hear a lot, actually, that guys can feel a bit not left out, but
no, that is the right word.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that, especially when you're breastfeeding and everything else. It's like, well, what's my role? Because actually, a little baby doesn't give much back.
No.
Apart from a lot of poo and crying.
Poo and sick. That was my problem at the beginning. Soph's not breastfeeding, so I can actually get up and do feeds and stuff like that. But I just felt at the beginning like he never wanted to be with me. He always wanted to be on Soph. And it kind of got to the point where I was like, does he not like me? Like, and
I get that.
And I didn't want to wish the baby stage away. Like, for me, I can't wait till he's like 1 and 1.5, 2, and I can run around, play footy and tickle and mess around with him.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to wish this baby stage away because it's such an amazing stage. And I felt a little bit like a spare part and like I wasn't really needed. And even though I was getting up and doing feeds and stuff, like, that's how I felt. And now he loves me just as much because I've spent time with him and I took him away for 3 days on my own without.
Did you?
Yeah, he was about, I think he was 3 or 4 weeks, and I took him to my mum's for 3 days, And a lot of people went, you can't do that, you're taking him away from his mum. And I was like, I'm just as capable, thank you very much. Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And obviously I do need help, but like, I can do 3 days. I'm giving my missus a break. She's getting a nice break from it. She's been doing loads. She's knackered.
The sleep she would have got.
Yeah. To be fair, I think she just like tidied the house and did little bits for herself and painted her nails. Do you know what I mean? And it was just, and I had a lot of people reaching out going, that's the wrong thing you're doing. You shouldn't take them away from the mum and stuff. And I'm like, kids are sometimes born without a dad, their mums aren't around. You know what I mean? So I'm just as capable. And I couldn't get my head around it. Like, as a man, as a dad, I wasn't trusted. I just wanted to prove to people I was.
It's interesting because you say that you took a 3-week-old away for a few nights and it feels unusual, but it shouldn't.
No.
You're a dad.
I had my mum there and my mum helped me and stuff. But I was like, I'm very sure that I can look after this baby by myself. without having to go, so I don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? And it was the best thing I did, because we bonded for 3 days and we went on walks, and it was just me and him, and he wouldn't go to sleep, so he slept on me, and like I stayed up all night watching films while he was asleep, and I just felt a lot closer to him when I got home.
Somebody's just said you're a different breed of man, Jake. You absolutely.
Oh, thanks.
I would agree with that. Oh,
yeah.
God.
You know what? I think there is a lot of us out there. There's a lot of guys out there, and I don't think a lot of us get the credit for doing it.
No.
And it's just the fact that I can kind of put it out there a little bit on my platform, and hopefully more men do it, and hopefully more men reach out and get any help if they need any help. Do you know what I mean? Just as checking your balls or checking your breasts, or if you've got a lump that you're worried about. Like, I think nowadays as a man, you shouldn't be scared about doing stuff like that. Like my old man passed away probably because he was stubborn, and he didn't want to get checked out for the first 6 months. Do you know what I mean? And he might still be here now if he did.
I think that's what I'm always banging on about is, you know, whether, like you say, whether it's your bums, your boobs, whatever it is, if something's bleeding or there's a lump, and you get that gut instinct that that's unusual and you haven't had it before, just get it checked out. I'm so glad that I did. You know, I'm a mum of 3, and, you know, and I don't have any family history of breast cancer, so I was 39. I did not think that was what was coming my way, but with a lot of these cancers, the earlier you get them, the better. So I'm going to always be banging on about checking, and thank you so much for speaking to me today about sarcoma.
No, thank you.
We've had lots of people on here, and I just think, you know what, there's 250 on it now. If everybody goes away and checks themselves tonight, learns what their normal is, then our job's done, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Even if, I always say that, even if one person goes away and goes, I've got a little lump. And that was the best thing about the Full Monty, the amount of messages I got saying, I got myself checked today, and it's nothing, but I wouldn't have done it without the show. And I think you do TV and you do reality shows, and more often than not I do it because I need a bit of cash. I'm not gonna lie, but
we all do.
There's then other reasons for doing stuff, and if by having a certain amount of followers or whatever, every now and again you can do something good, then you should do it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I try and do anyway. Yeah,
well, you are smashing, and thank you so much, and I'll let you get back to your gorgeous little boy and your lovely wife and your lovely wife Sophie.
I think she's putting him to bed actually, which is great. Which is great. I might get 10 minutes to watch a bit of TV and
do that. Grab it now while you
have a bath.
Anyway, sending you lots of love, and thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us on here. All the best, and I shall see you at the studios, no doubt, very soon.
For sure.
Take care, my love.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.